Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of Anarchast, your home for anarchy on the internet. I have another great guest, Andrew Treglia. He's a well-known Hollywood producer. He just came out with, he's actually coming out with tons of films. The one before the most recent one that I thought was really great was Lord of the Freaks. And there's no way to actually describe this movie. I'm just going to play the trailer for it right now and then we'll come right back.
You guys hear about this? A Greek billionaire is giving $1 million
to anyone who would streak in front of the president.
From our Los Angeles studio is the man who came up with the streaking dare.
We are joined now by Alki David, who can be the new Steve Jobs within the television market. Is that what you're aiming to do?
As rich as you are, there's always somebody richer. You know, there's always somebody with more, and it's never enough.
I would never give to charity.
We'll go to Coachella, we'll set up a foil, right? We'll stick the blue troll in there, and we'll have all these people sing with him.
Can you shut the f*** up? Shaka Zulu, man.
Sadism. We brought these crazy people into the studio just to see what would happen.
Snaps, no she didn't.
It's sort of a giant gladiatorial pit.
Finish him!
There's hookers, there's meth.
This isn't really a talk show, it's actually kind of a strange situation.
It's very distracting to see these horrible things.
Get on with us, show!
It makes no sense what this is.
It's like this incredible train wreck.
It was like going to war.
Come at me, bro.
Oh my God! Oh my God!
You're doing what Alki paid you to come in here and do.
He was basically trying to get these people killed, which was fine with me.
Just fight, you morons.
There can't be nothing like it anywhere else in the world.
So as you can see, interesting, crazy, does some interesting films. He's got another one coming out right now. We're going to get into all that. He's actually down here at Anarchapulco. He was down here actually doing some work right around the time of Anarchapulco, so that worked out really well.
That's nice.
Yeah, so Andrew, before we get into everything though, I got to ask you, especially because being a Hollywood producer and director, very unusual, how did you become an anarchist?
It was October 2013. I more consider myself a voluntarian. I mean, I know it's semantics, basically the same thing. Yeah. I know, it's just nicer. It's better, it sells better, maybe.
Yeah. Use it.
But I don't know. I don't know what happened. I started to, for some reason, questioning everything. I guess being an artist, I'm always questioning everything. And I started seeking and searching. And I'll be honest with you, how I got. That's when I contacted you, believe it or not, and that was, it was a weird one. It was a video you did at some mining conference or something. It was like, ba-da-da, ba-da-da.
Cambridge. Not many people know. A lot of people bring that up. That's how they found out about my Dollar Vigilante stuff. They see that video.
That's me.
Yeah.
And I never, because I worked on this film called, this little indie that we shot in location in Brazil in 2009 called Transmigration. And the actors from it was an acting group there called Teatro Furia, which is all anarchist. Which, by the way, I need to maybe hook you up with them. I'll talk to you about that later. But and at the time they were like, "Hey, we're anarchists," and I'm like, "What is that?" And they were like, "We just don't believe in rulers." And I'm like, "Well, what do you mean?" And they're like, "Well, there's no countries and no governments." I'm like, "Oh, you people are fucking crazy," you know? Because that word, I just had never really thought about it. And then I watched the Cambridge video.
And by the way, not many people know, and it went multi-viral. It was probably the most spread interview I've ever had. I was incredibly drunk and high in that video.
I could see that. Well, yeah, and she asked you about Obama, and you called him a sociopath, and I really never thought of that. And then you started saying it was anarchy and no rulers, and then I started blowing through the internet, and I was like, holy shit, I am one. And then I guess that's what I am. Every human interaction should be voluntary. Nobody should be able to have any control over somebody else's life. through force. I mean, I don't understand how that's even a conversation.
I don't either.
That's crazy to me.
Yeah, well, when you put it that way with people, a lot of the times, like if you go up to, I can almost say that anyone's an anarchist, because I'll go up to them and I'll say, do you think you should be forced to give people money? And they'll be like, no. And it's like, well, then you don't support government because that's what they do. And, well, no government, well, that's different. They've been brainwashed to think differently.
Well, that's funny, because that's what I like about voluntarian is that like you just said, if you approach the most brainwashed, status-loving, Bernie Sanders voting Muppet you can find and say, do you think somebody should steal money from you through force, or control your life through force, or control your sovereignty? Like, no. Well, that's actually what you support. And then they're like, their face turns red, and they're like, you're fucking with my programming.
And that's what it is programming.
Yeah. And
it comes from television programming. It's called programming for a reason. It comes from the government indoctrination centers, which they call public schools. It also comes from Hollywood to an extent. So that's why it's really interesting that you're an anarchist director. What's your take being a voluntarist? He's not an anarchist. Whatever. It's all.
I'll tell you this. So, like you said, most people don't know that they believe in this. They don't know that they're voluntarist. Like, one of the guys I worked with yesterday in the crew, good friend of mine, super smart guy, super talented guy. He's a Bernie Sanders guy. And it's just like, he's not putting two to two together. And I think a lot of those guys, especially the guys that work on the crews and stuff like that, they're really libertarians. They just don't know it. They just think they don't really pay attention to it, and they just think, okay, liberalism, that means they're open-minded. Help the poor. That's where I'm at. They don't really think it through, and they're not really that involved with it. But they really are libertarians, and the place is libertarian. It's like everybody helps each other out. If you're doing the right things, you're on the team, we help you out. But if you're not doing the right things and you're late to work, or you lie about what fuck you, you're fired. And it's very efficient like that, which is what the free market is.
Yeah.
And I think what they did in the 70s, when they sort of made all these films that put into the culture the implicit belief that all the things that all the leftist stuff that there was in those films is the way it's supposed to be, and that was the truth. I think you could see that happen with Voluntarism. You could see that. There's a lot of guys in Hollywood that are coming out now. You've got, what's his name, Vince Vaughn.
The South Park guys have always been
South Park
libertarian.
guys. There's a lot of that going on. Okay, maybe not in the big money. And the only reason why the big money is involved with mostly Democrats is because they're paying for them. Just like that raid on Kim Dotcom. I mean, that came right when Obama was visiting Hollywood to beg for money. Then they raid that guy's mansion and steal all his money. But I think you could see that. Who's the other? The guy. What's that actor's name? From Hunger Games. What the hell's his name?
Woody
Harrelson.
Yeah, he's actually come out and said he's an anarchist.
Yeah, he's an anarchist.
Now, there's quite a bit, but I like you, and I think that's why you wanted me not to say the word too much. I think in Hollywood, if you say you are really, truly an anarchist, and you really are, you're not going to get many jobs anymore.
That was kind of one of the fears about doing that. You know what I mean? It's definitely a concern.
So he's not an anarchist. He's a voluntarist, and that only means that he just believes in voluntary transactions.
Fuck you. I am what I am.
Well, the cool thing though now is that you don't necessarily need Hollywood to succeed in the movie business, right? Would you agree with that? Because you can now self-produce. Of course, you're not going to make the billions and billions necessarily.
But you don't need to. You can make a good living.
Right.
So,
have you thought about putting out an explicitly voluntarist sort of movie at some point?
Well, that's my next project.
You've already thought about it. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I'm already writing the script, and I'll talk to you about it.
Awesome.
I'll tell you the whole.
Maybe you can get Woody as the lead.
He might be a little expensive.
I've seen him do some sort of indie stuff if his heart's in it.
You never know.
Yeah.
You never know. There's also some comedians out there that I think would be great actors that would be given a shot, that are of the ilk, But I mean, the artist is supposed to have a secret, you know, and is supposed to look at society and sort of show something in a way that nobody's seen it before. And this idea, all of these artists that are out there blowing politicians, I don't understand it. I don't get it. And so, you know, if you come out with a story that is a film that has good characters, has a lot more going on than the real-time action of the plot, get people invested who otherwise weren't thinking of this, and then show them this in a whole different way without some sort of political argument conversation, people go, oh, you know, show the power for what it is. Show these ridiculous countries for what they are, you know?
Yeah,
that's what I want to do with this next film.
That's great. Looking forward to it. Just so you know, past Anarchast guests, there's actors, writers, also movie producers, smaller than you, but if you know, I'm sure a lot of them be willing to work on a sort of a voluntary basis with you to get the show done. So something to keep in mind as you're developing the idea.
Yeah, totally. I mean,
because the people who are into this idea are really into it, and they'll do whatever it takes to get it done.
It's a very motivated niche market. Yeah, I'd like to see it be less niche.
Me too. I'd like to see it not be niche at all.
I feel like some people want it to be niche, you know?
Yeah, you get that. Yeah, there's always that thing, especially people who've been like an anarchist or voluntarist for like 30 years. And I think to them there's a bit of an identity in being the outsiders.
Yeah.
And they just like that identity, but I don't want to be the outsider. Like, I'd rather be the outsider at something else. I'd be perfectly happy being lumped in with the group of the whole world because voluntarist. I am too, no problem. And then I'll find some other thing wrong in the world to fix, I guess. But
yeah, that'd be nice. I mean, it's like in life when you are supposed to go to this next level and you're stuck in this level, you suffer. And I feel like with technology, you know, we human beings are going to go to this next place. It's just a matter of time, but we're going to need a bull market and freedom, you know? And that means all these people that you call slaves, they're going to have to be on your side. So, you know, you need to have empathy for people, you know, and not just be sort of a lot of anger and hate towards people that haven't seen the light, I guess you'd call it.
Are you saying that's how I am?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
I don't think I'm like that. I thought you might be saying
I'm just saying
like
in general.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I see that a lot.
I totally
with
get it with like the sociopaths, the power-hungry sociopaths that walk among us. I'm just talking about regular people that don't think about it. I'm not.
Oh, totally. No, we need a ton of empathy. This is, you know, I see so many anarchists out there, and they're trying to get people to wake up, and they're yelling at them and calling them stupid.
Yeah.
That's never going to work. These people, they are kind of stupid. That's why they're not anarchists yet. And by calling them stupid, you're just going to make them want to hear less and less about this.
Right.
You have to be humble and
respect their level of consciousness.
Absolutely, and help them out of their problems they have in their own mind.
Right.
And
because once you see this, there's no one seeing it.
That's exactly right. I don't know of any anarchist that has turned back and said, "No, I'm going to be a statist now." It's one of those things where once you see it,
I love police brutality. Yeah, I love getting my money stolen when I work.
Yeah,
it's great.
The only way we can have
I love war.
Yeah, war is good. Yeah, what was I thinking? Yeah, it's one of those things. So that's actually a good thing about the growth of our ideology, you could say, is that we never lose. We don't have any attrition, really. Once we get someone to understand what we're talking about, they pretty much are never going back.
That's a really good point.
Yeah. It's just we're starting from a really small base, so it takes a while to get it out there, but I think it's happening. We're seeing it happening all over the place. You point out in Hollywood, it's, you know, there's pockets of it breaking out all over the place.
You know, the last studio I was working at, I would beat people down. You know, just go over it with them over and over again, and it worked. You know, once you get the truth to people, I mean, the truth always wins. You know, the truth is always takes the lead eventually.
Yep.
You know, and what it is the truth.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's interesting times. So you're working on, or is it out now, your latest film? You do so many films. I don't know how you do them so fast.
This next one's the Atlantan. It's a dark, raw, authorial indie with no stars. So
opposite of the last one, basically.
Yeah. So we soft released it. It's available at the Atlantanfilm.com. take a look at it if you like. If you're it's more for cinephiles.
Well, let's take a look at it right now.
Satan, he seeks after you. And he wants to take your soul. Evil is everywhere in your life, and it is encroaching upon you. Bruise the head of the wicked evil Satan.
Live at the scene of that tragic accident we first told you about yesterday. Now, the tree actually split into two pieces. A main part of the trunk fell directly on the back half of the car.
When I look back, I kind of feel like I acted like God. Like I created an evil twin.
Does it ever bother you that you benefit from suffering and sickness?
Sometimes you just need to feel something.
Grace is dead, Jimmy.
Hey, you big white man! You want some company?
And when the opportunity presents itself, you take it.
Please! I swear to God! Stop lying! You given the chance, you're gonna do the same shit you did before. You can't help yourself.
You feel me? Yeah, you feel me.
Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God!
That didn't feel right. To me or my evil twin.
Yeah, so that was very interesting. Definitely different than the last one you put out.
That's the idea. Change it up.
Change it up.
Yeah. So I mean, if you watch it, if you go to the website and you subscribe, we will send you a coupon code if you want to watch it. And whether you like it or don't like it, tweet it out, and we'll retweet whatever you put out. And just give us some feedback. You know.
That's great.
Great.
So how long have you been directing movies?
Been doing this about a decade. I got in this later in life.
What made you get into it?
I owned a parking company in Atlanta, and I just started writing a script for some reason. I don't know the answer to that one. And one of the valets that worked for me, we started talking about my script, and I was telling him, you know, where I want to put the camera and how I wanted to look and everything. And he's like, "You're a director." And then at that point, this is back in the day now, before I was thinking the way I do, I went back to school, grad school, which I don't know if that was necessary, but being later in life, I did have access to the equipment at that time. And so that's when I just started doing it. And then I just busted my ass in Atlanta for 5 or 6 years and then went to LA.
What's your next, is your next big one? Is it going to be this Anarchist one?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Definitely keep us up to date on that. Maybe, you know, I don't know how much you can tell me about it now, but if you can't tell me much, we'll have you back on in the future as you're starting to get it going, and maybe we can bring in other people, actors and other people to contribute.
That'd be great, and hopefully this one will get like a bankable lead.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I've been trying to get Woody Harrelson on. Woody must know me by now. He must have had at least 20 people say that he has to be on Anarchast, but every time he's sort of turned it down. I think the reason is, like what you were saying earlier,
he doesn't want to put it all out there.
He doesn't want to put it all out there.
He doesn't want to lay his cards on the table.
Yeah. So.
I can't blame him. I mean, he's Woody Harrelson. They're probably not, I mean, he can do whatever he wants. But, I mean,
they'll shut you down if they don't like you in Hollywood.
I guess at what cost? I don't know. I think eventually he'll do it.
Probably will. He seems pretty genuine and pretty...
That's the one thing about the next film is like I'm worried about coming out with it as an anarchist film. Like I wanted people to watch it and then gain what it has to say, from the film.
Oh, absolutely.
Not go into it with like sort of a political bent.
Yeah, I agree. No, it shouldn't be called the Anarchy film, right?
No, it's called Loner.
Okay.
Yeah, I already have the name for it.
But that's great. Yeah, looking forward to it. We need more and more of those.
Yeah. I'll tell you the story about it once we cut the camera here. You tell me what you think.
All right. Cool. So anything else you want to get into about anarchy in Hollywood or anything else?
No, I think I've covered it.
Cool. Well, like I said, we'll have you back on once your next project gets going more.
That'd be great.
Yeah, and we'll definitely all be supporting it as much as possible.
Awesome, I appreciate that. Yeah. Oh, and one more thing. If we give a shout out to, you ever heard of Liberty Hangout?
Yes, I have.
That's my daughter's uncle's website, James Chalemi. So they're good guys. Just going to give them a shout out. Check them out if you haven't checked them out yet. They're doing really good work. They're up and coming.
Cool. Yeah,
we need them.
Oh yeah, totally. We need everybody. We gotta get everyone doing everything we can to sort of wake people up.
Yes.
This could go really bad in the next few years or really good, and it all depends on all of us. It's really up to us.
It is like a battle right now. Like there's a totalitarian element and there's a freedom element, and I don't know who's winning.
It's a tight race right now, in my opinion. But I think we're gaining ground massively. And the more that we can just keep it up and keep getting out there. And the totalitarian aspect, that side, the statist side, the big government side, it's losing. Not even if we didn't exist, it'd be losing, because people, as this progresses, they're going to see how it all works out, and it never works out well. You see that everywhere.
The fear I have, though, is that every time it doesn't work out, people think that they want more of it for some reason, which is insane.
That's sort of what's going on with this latest presidential race, in my opinion, is people are realizing the two-party system's screwed and that government in general is really bad, but now they're going to try to do it even harder. And it's like H.L. Mencken said, the people will get what they want, good and hard, and I think they will with this next one.
Yeah, I don't understand how you come to that conclusion. Let the people that fucked up everything, let's give them more money and power, and let's let them fuck it up more.
It's because they don't know there's another option. That's how brainwashed people are. So they only assume the only way to change things is to tick a box, to go into a little booth with a curtain and tick a box. They don't realize there's
what's sort of like a laziness also. Like I was listening to the radio the other day, and the government had in California had uncovered some money, and it went towards education. And I thought to myself, like, how many people listen to this and went, oh, good, the money went towards education. But it's not going to improve the educational system. It's going to a bureaucracy. And I think people it's just an easier way to...
That's true.
Without having to self-manage. Also, it's also based on fear, which is why you know that it's not good. The idea of not having this system scares the shit out of people. And anytime you're making decisions based on fear, you're making bad decisions.
Absolutely. Yeah, there was a guy, I forget who said it, but we know things are... I butcher every quote. I've never done it correctly in my entire life. Something along the lines of... I forget it now, the exact quote about... What were we just talking about?
Fear.
Fear. No, it was something else. Anyway... that was the worst I've ever butchered. I completely forgot what the quote was.
What's more disturbing, though? Is Bernie Sanders or Donald Trump more disturbing?
From a pure anarchist perspective, it doesn't really matter at this point. And the president really doesn't really have a lot of power. They just read off teleprompters, and both Trump and Bernie will find that out once they become president.
Yeah, but won't Trump be like the first dictator? You know how...
Oh, he looks like it for sure.
Democracies always end up...
Yeah.
Is he our Julius Caesar?
Well, that's what they always said about the U.S., a lot of people, is as it gets worse and worse, they'll eventually go for a strongman. And that's what happens throughout history, is it gets worse and worse. One guy comes up and he goes, I know how to fix it. You just got to just let me have total control and I'll fix everything.
Yeah.
And then it gets even worse, right?
Yeah.
So... we'll see what happens, but...
And the other thing about about anarchy and about is like, I keep hearing people say, well, we can never not have governments because it would require us to be in a whole different level of consciousness and people could never do it. And I'm like, well, then that's definitely what we need to be doing. You want to go to the next level of consciousness, you know? And by the way, governments could work if they're voluntary and they're not forced on geographic regions.
Yeah,
I mean,
they just wouldn't be called government.
Right, but like the communes in Israel.
Right.
I mean, I wouldn't join a commune with a condom on, but I'm saying but like, if you pay this much, this is what's required, you get this back, and if you don't like it, it's not working out, you fucking leave.
No problem. I have no problem with that.
That could work.
Go for it.
And why does it have to be tied to a geographic region? Why can't the government be just the people that you have like-mindedness with, and you get online, and the better they are, the more services they offer, the more locations that they belong to.
Yeah, if it's voluntary, then it's just a business.
So as long as it's voluntary, that's the whole thing.
That's
the whole thing.
Only thing.
Again, that's why I like voluntarian, because that's the selling point. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Just being voluntary, not being forced by people, especially with a gun.
Yeah, it's funny because a lot of the liberals out there are so anti-gun. They're so pro-government, which is backed by guns.
The other thing is that you cannot be a leftist and then be against police brutality. That's a complete contradiction in terms. You can't be for force on one end. I mean, that's how they maintain the system, is police brutality. How can you be against police brutality and be for a state that is based on guns and force? Right?
Yeah, there's so many contradictions in people's heads. And it's because there's nothing on TV, right? All they see is like Law and Order and CIS every city in the world, and
this is the things I started thinking about when I started questioning everything. It's like, why are all the shows police and lawyers? Why are all the shows and all the detectives that are heroes? Like, I've never ever had a situation where I was dealing with the police when they weren't fucking with me, when they were taking my money. They never like, hey, how can I solve this crime? They're like, just fill out a police report.
Yeah, it's unbelievable that people think that the police are, useful in any sort. Like you said, they're either extorting you or they come after something bad happened and they write down what happened. So what happened here? All right, here you go. It's like, thanks. Yeah. The story of how I got robbed.
Call your insurance company.
Yeah. Which is a private company, which is useful. Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
The story of how I got robbed.
Anyway, I know you're actually heading out of Acapulco now.
I am. Beautiful place.
Yeah, I'm glad you came down. And
conference was a big hit.
Yeah.
Number 3's coming.
2017 is going to be great.
Yeah.
Hopefully you'll come back.
Yeah.
And hope maybe we'll show your movie by that time. I don't know how fast you can pump them out, but you seem pretty fast.
Maybe. You never know. You never know.
That's great. So, we'll leave it at that, and I'll let you head off back to the USSA.
Well, keep doing what you're doing, because, in my personal situation, you made a difference.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, you did.
Appreciate it. And so please like, subscribe, and share these videos, because that's how people like Andrew became a voluntarist. He saw a video one day. So that's how we can change the world. And just one by one, we only got to do 7 billion and we're done. And if you actually do the math, it's actually almost impossible, but we can try at the very least.
We can get to like 2.5 billion, we got it.
Oh, if we can get to 100 million, I think we got it.
Where are we at now?
That's a good question. True people who truly understand what we're talking about, that's a really good question. I'm going to guess it's in the hundreds of thousands now.
Oh, that's depressing. But spiritually, like the people here, they're there. They just don't. Oh,
there's so many who just, we're all born anarchists. We're all born voluntarists. Mm-hmm. And even anarchists, anarcho-capitalists, because when you're born, you inherently understand what's right and wrong. So a baby does not, little kids, they don't like to be bossed around. They're like, who are you? Mm-hmm. Why do you have some sort of authority over me? They understand that inherently. Mm-hmm. And if you try to take a 2-year-old's, little toy, they'll get very upset. They understand private property. So you come out and you're ready, and then you go to the public indoctrination camps, you go through all the mainstream media programming, and people start to get confused, and then they don't. So
go to college, get a degree.
Oh, all that kind of stuff.
Which college, or if you go to college, you're supposed to learn a skill that you can sell to the market. It's not about the degree.
Yeah. I didn't even get my high school diploma. I don't know.
You're smart. You're smart.
Well, I think I passed, but I never got it. I never got the piece of paper. I was like, does anyone ever ask for that piece of paper? Like what kind of job would you be applying to where like, I need to see the piece of paper that said that you sat through a bunch of bullshit classes?
Well, I mean, I went to one of the top 50 business schools in the United States. I graduated, I didn't even know what a bond was. Now, part of that's because I was drinking Mad Dog the entire time, but it was the biggest waste of time. I read The Intelligent Investor by Benjamin Graham, and you get out of high school and you want to learn how to work the market, read that book. It's a master class. And then if you like that, read Security Analysis. You can become a millionaire in the market. It'll cost you the cost of the book, and you don't have to waste your time going to class for 4 years. Waste your short life.
If you want to learn Economics in One Lesson by Henry Hazlitt. It's this big, and you know everything you need to know about economics. Forget about the 4 years of Keynesian economics.
And you can go, and you can actually get online if you want to do that and take Harvard's classes. They're all free.
Yeah, everything's free. I don't know. All these commies always protesting. They want free education. It's free. It's all free. Everything's on the internet.
Yeah.
And they all seem to have iPads and stuff, even though they hate capitalism. I don't know.
Yeah. How can you be a communist with an iPad?
I don't know. I'm not even going to try. You can't talk to those people, really. They're insane. I think they're actually evil, sort of sent to us to punish us or something.
Are you talking about the psychopaths that walk among us?
The general communist types. I think they're evil.
They're the guys that beat people up and
they just want to destroy everything.
Money.
Yeah. They don't like it. If anyone's got anything, they don't like it.
Hey, slow down. Like if anybody's happy or if people are making good money, slow down.
Yeah. I just try to stay away from those people. All right, so we should let you hit the airport.
All right.
Thanks for being on. Like I said, please like, subscribe, share if you like this. And that's it for Anarchast, your home for anarchy on the internet. Peace, love, and anarchy.
So Theory of Objectivist Parenting started because, Ayn Rand told me, if you want to be a mom one day, if you want to be a mom, you better study it and make it a career, raising children in reality, which could be an interesting subject of conversation. I think it's one of the major mistakes that freedom-loving parents make. They raise respectful children, but they don't raise them in touch with reality, so they end up way better off than the kids who went to school. But what ended up happening is that children just got really frustrated and angry and really kind of became these annoying little creatures.
I think that feminism, first of all, the entire thing they claim to be fighting for equality has been a lie, and what their actual actions have been. As I've said in many of my videos and my debates with feminists, I've exposed a lot of the, just quite frankly, exaggerations they use to keep feminism as a relevant movement. Well, we're starting to see influence in the States, in the US, of people who are not professional politicians making their way into politics.
From Acapulco, Mexico, this is Anarchast.